Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene pressing buttons with statements so controversial and crazy like this one. Talk about a conspiracy theory. There are two genders, male and female. Trust the science. The fallout from this was pretty over the top. That's a pretty straightforward statement. We'll get into how that all came about. But first, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, welcome back. How are you? And what's the latest?
Well, the latest is the Democrats have basically voted to destroy women's rights and to destroy religious freedom with the Equality Act. You know, the Equality Act has nothing to do with ending discrimination. It has everything to do with creating discrimination, and that's discrimination against little girls, against women's privacy. It's against women's sports, and it's against religious freedoms and businesses, doctors and nurses that don't want to go along with this agenda. That's basically what just happened today.
Yeah, I mean, it has such a great name, the Equality Act. Who could be against equality? And I think it's named that for a purpose. This is the thing where you, no kidding, could get boys essentially competing against girls in sports. Boys who suddenly identify as female could play in women's or girls' sports. That's not a hypothetical. That could really happen.
No, it's already happening. It already does happen, and they'll continue to make it happen more. So it was unfortunate that this small dispute happened with my colleague, my Democrat colleague across the hall. I didn't even know her office was there until I found myself being tagged in several of her tweets. And one of them was that video you showed where she literally started the video with my name, my nameplate, and then the camera pans to her and she's planting the trans flag and says in her tweet that I have to look at that flag every time I leave my office. And I really wasn't even paying attention and don't really care about the trans flag. Another tweet she had tagged me in, I retweeted her and I said, you know, all mothers love and support our children, but you need to tell your biological son to stay out of my daughter's bathrooms, locker rooms, and sports teams. And that goes for all men that want to identify themselves as women. And I really don't care. That's their personal decision. And thank God we have equal rights in this country, but they're not going to take away my rights, my daughter's rights, and any other woman's rights in America. I'm just not going to allow that to happen. And putting a sign up and retweeting that video back to her is not attacking her child. It's not attacking the trans community. It's stating the truth that has been in existence since the beginning of time. There are only two genders, male and female, and the science says so because there's two sets of chromosomes.
Well, it's so wild, though, that it tells you where we are right now, that you made the controversial statement, according to the mainstream media, and she's a hero somehow and a victim all in one. Boy, that's really hot in America. I didn't know they had a trans flag, and I actually want to put the sign up that you posted one more time so people can see, okay, there are two genders, male and female, trust the science. I mean, that's hard to get away from. That's hard to really dispute. How do they dispute it?
I don't know how they dispute it because the Democrats want to lie. That's all they've been doing for the past 2 days when I've been fighting back on the Equality Act. I've been doing everything I can on the House floor. I called to adjourn, to stop, to give them pause, to think about, listen, you do not want to vote to violate women's rights. You do not want to do this. And I'm asked my colleagues over and over, I said, this is not about discriminating against the community that they're claiming they're protecting. What they're doing is actually discriminating against all women in America, businesses that don't want to perform mastectomies on teenage girls, doctors that don't want to do that, doctors that don't want to perform abortions and want to be able to refuse that, churches that want to be able to teach their faith and their belief in traditional marriage and the fact that there's only male and female. That's what the Equality Act does, and it is in the text. But the Democrats have been lying on the House floor for 2 days now, and that's why I've been fighting back on it. You know, we have to stop this. It's insanity.
You know, I wonder if they regret not letting you serve on any committees because now you can, I don't know, you've got like the leeway to go wherever you want. And I think that they may come to regret that. I do want to ask you about this, and Parsh, forgive me if it's fake news or whatever, but it's out there and let's talk. There's a guy named Anthony Aguero. He is reported to be a friend of yours who was involved in the January 6th situation at the Capitol. I don't know if he was inside or outside. Maybe somebody can show me a picture. There he is with you. I think he's the one on the left, but actually I don't know. Looks like a fine picture. Who is this guy and what happened, please?
Anthony is someone that I've known for a couple years and have done activism work with. I didn't know he was in the Capitol. I knew nothing about it until CNN started reporting it. I guess I saw it earlier today, and that's the first I heard of it. I haven't talked to Anthony much lately at all. I've been busy being a member of Congress, and for the past year, I was campaigning all over Northwest Georgia. You see, what CNN isn't telling people is Anthony's from Texas. So this isn't someone that I'm able to see or talk to a whole lot, but I didn't know that either, and I haven't spoken with him. I hope he wasn't involved. No one should have broken in the Capitol on January 6th. They committed a crime by doing so, and I was a victim of that crime. I was in the chamber. I was being attacked as well, like the Democrats, when they're talking about being attacked, I was also attacked. All of us were that were inside of there. And another thing that CNN should talk about is how there were pipe bombs planted at the RNC and the DNC. You see, that's both parties. And that was the night before. It didn't happen from incitement from President Trump's speech. But yeah, I saw that news today, and I haven't talked with him, so I have no idea if that's true.
Listen, I've got friends who've done all kinds of crazy stuff over the years, and sometimes if you stay friends, and sometimes you don't. Congresswoman, I want to ask you this. We started this piece tonight talking about how even some on the left are growing uncomfortable with how we seem to be so gender-oriented and race-oriented, judging people over things they can't control, things that they were born as. And we're hearing anecdotally, and we saw a pretty interesting display in the New York Times, that even folks over there might be getting, I don't know, they're a little bit frightened, a little bit uneasy about where we are right now. You get that sense from your Democrat colleagues at all?
Oh, about where we are? I know for sure I'm frightened about where we are. I'm tired of hearing my Democrat colleagues talk about Republicans as if we're some kind of criminal. We haven't done anything wrong. We don't support violence. We're not the party of violence. They're the party that supported Antifa and BLM riots over the past year. But with the gender situation, we have the greatest country in the world. And this is the only country that declares all of us equal. We already have equal rights. Thank God. So there's no need to pass any kind of law that violates other people's rights, like women's rights, and the list goes on. But our government is so divided. Democrats, they don't even talk to us. It's very difficult. We don't work together. They don't want to hear us. And that's why me not being on committees, I could care less, because now I have more time to really learn the rules and use them as good as I can on the House floor. So yeah, they're going to regret what they've done. Yeah.
Some of your colleagues on the left, I hope they do talk to their constituents, because we are getting the sense that things might be changing in their home districts while they're busy doing other things. But hey, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Congresswoman, Republican of Georgia, we thank you once again for showing up and joining us. Showing up, that sounded so abrupt. All right, tell us is there any Democrat friend you've made since you've been there, or at least have a decent relationship with?
I've spoken just a little bit with a couple of them, and I'm always happy to do so. But no, they really don't talk to me. They don't talk to any of us that I've seen. And I think that's unfortunate. But, people have asked me before, like, can you work across the aisle with Democrats? I can work across the aisle with anyone that's willing to work on America First policies, but I absolutely cannot work across the aisle with socialism, communism, or any kind of issue like the Equality Act that is downright evil and destroys gender and destroys women's rights and religious freedoms. But I think that Democrats, I hope they get a wake-up call at home in their districts when people are calling in and saying, you know what, my little girl needs privacy in the bathroom, and you're going too far, because everything they're doing right now is going too far.
All right, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Republican of Georgia, thank you very much. Hey, stay safe. I know it's a tough, edgy time out there. All the best. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
You bet. We'll be right back.
Hi, Emma Reckenberg here. If you like this video, there's a whole lot more to see on Newsmax TV. You can watch for free right here on our YouTube live stream and be the first one here each time our experts break down real news. Just hit that subscribe button, ring the bell icon, and stay with us on America's fastest growing cable news channel, Newsmax TV.